All right, let's talk about it. If you feel like your credit score is just stuck below that 600 mark, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going on a score rescue mission. We're going to break down the 5 most common mistakes that are holding you back and, more importantly, how you can start fixing them, like right now.
Does it ever feel like your score is just trapped? Like it's stuck in mud while everyone else seems to be zooming by on the financial highway? You are definitely not alone in feeling that way. It's super frustrating, but trust me, we're here to help you get unstuck for good.
But here's the most important thing I want you to hear today. This is not a life sentence. A credit score isn't a final grade tattooed on your forehead. It's more like a financial fitness level. And just like with physical fitness, if you use the right strategy, you absolutely can and will improve it.
Okay, so let's get into the strategy. Our mission briefing starts right here. To improve your score, you gotta understand the rules of the game first. Your FICO score, as you can see, is made up of 5 main things. And what you'll notice right away is that they're not all created equal. And that right there, that's the key.
And here is the absolute most important part of the whole game. Just look at those top 2 factors, payment history and amounts owed. Together, they account for a whopping 65% of your entire score. 65%. This is our bullseye. This is where we are going to focus all our energy to get the biggest, fastest results.
Let's dive right into the number 1 mistake, the one that attacks that huge 35% chunk of your score, late payments. This is, without a doubt, the single biggest score killer out there. And why does it matter so much? Well, think about it. To a lender, a late payment screams unreliable, and that makes them really nervous about giving you a loan.
And this slide, wow, this really shows you the damage. A single payment that's 30 days late can knock a good score down by as much as 110 points. 110. And that negative mark, it sticks to your credit report for 7 long years. It is easily the most expensive mistake you can make.
But hey, it is fixable. Here's your tactical response plan. First, if you missed a payment, pay it right now. Creditors usually only report you after you're 30 days late, so you might be able to stop it. Second, go set up autopay on all your accounts for at least the minimum payment. This is your safety net. And finally, if you generally have a good payment history, call your creditor and ask for what's called a goodwill adjustment. It might not work, but it costs you nothing to try.
Okay, now that we've got a plan for your payment history, let's move on to that second huge factor, that 30% amounts owed piece of the pie. This brings us to mistake number 2, high credit utilization. This is a big deal because using too much of your available credit makes you look overextended to lenders, like maybe you're relying on debt to get by, and that's a major red flag for them.
So what is this utilization thing anyway? It's actually pretty simple. It's just the amount you owe on your cards divided by your total credit limits. So if you've got a balance of $1,000 on a card that has a $2,000 limit, your utilization on that card is 50%. Easy.
And here's why that percentage is so crucial. Think of this chart like the RPM gauge in a car. You never want to be in the red zone. Anything over 50% is definitely risky territory. Even that 30 to 50% range is a bit concerning. Your mission is to stay in that green, healthy zone, under 30%. Honestly, the lower you can get that number, the happier your score is going to be.
So how do we fix it? First, you gotta attack those balances. Pay down as much as you possibly can and start with the cards that have the highest percentage. And here's a pro tip. Pay your bill before your statement closing date. That's the date most banks report your balance to the bureaus. And finally, you can always ask for a credit limit increase on your existing cards. A higher limit automatically lowers your ratio even if your balance stays the same. All right, we've covered the 2 heavy hitters, but there are 3 more sneaky mistakes that can secretly keep your score stuck below 600. Let's pull back the curtain on these. Getting these right, well, that's what separates a decent score from a really great one.
So mistake number 3 isn't actually something you do, it's something you don't do, and that's checking your credit report. This is a huge deal because an error on your report, something that's not even your fault, could get you denied for a car loan or cost you thousands of dollars in extra interest.
And if you think it's not likely to happen to you, check this out. The Federal Trade Commission found that a staggering 1 in 5 people, 1 in 5, has an error on their credit report. That means there's a pretty decent chance something you didn't even do could be dragging your score down right now.
The fix for this one is surprisingly easy. Your only job is to go to annualcreditreport.com. That's the official, completely free government site, and pull your reports. If you find a mistake, you dispute it, and it becomes the credit bureau's job to investigate, and they have to do it within 30 days. Correcting just one error can sometimes boost a score by a lot.
Okay, next up is a mistake that is so easy to fall into, applying for too much credit all at once. Why is this a bad thing? Well, when you start applying for a bunch of cards or loans in a really short time, it makes lenders think you might be in some kind of financial trouble or desperate for cash. It just makes you look like a bigger risk.
You see, every time you apply for new credit, it puts something called a hard inquiry on your report. Each one of those can ding your score by about 5 to 10 points. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but they can add up really fast and keep your score suppressed for months. The solution is simple. Only apply for credit when you really need it and try to space those applications out.
And now for our fifth and final mistake. And honestly, this one is probably the most counterintuitive of them all. Let's say you work really hard to pay off a credit card. Your first instinct might be to just close the account and be done with it, right? Well, that can actually hurt your score.
Here's why. Closing an old account hurts you in two different ways. First, it lowers the average age of all your accounts, and a longer history is always better. And second, it lowers your total available credit, which can cause that utilization ratio we talked about to spike right back up. So what should you do instead? For any old cards that don't have an annual fee, just keep them open. Maybe use them once every few months for a small purchase to keep the account active. And there you have it, the 5 most common mistakes and 5 clear, actionable plans to fix them. So let's quickly debrief our mission and talk about how to turn these fixes into powerful habits that will get your score climbing towards 700 and beyond.
I really want you to let this sink in. Your score right now is just a snapshot in time. It is not your destiny. Every negative thing on your report has an expiration date, and every single day, you have the power to build a stronger financial future. Consistent good habits will always win.
It really all boils down to these 4 simple habits. Pay your bills on time every single time. Keep your balances low, definitely under that 30% mark. Check your reports once a year for errors, and let those old accounts stay open and age. If you can master these 4 things, a score below 600 will just be a memory.
You know, at the end of the day, a credit score isn't just a number. It's not a grade on your life. It's a tool. It's a key that can unlock things like better interest rates, a new car, maybe even your first home. It represents financial freedom. So the real question isn't just how do I fix this number? It's once I've sharpened this tool, what am I going to build?